Today I'm going to show you the basics of corner to corner crochet. As the name implies, corner to corner crochet works up from corner to corner, and it's made up of a bunch of little clusters or squares of double crochets. I'm going to start off with a slip knot and then chain 6. First 3 are the foundation of your square, and the next 3 are the turning chain. Each square we're working in double crochets, so each square is basically just 3 double crochets, and we're starting in the 4th chain from the hook, so ignoring the first 3 as the turning chain, and then working into 4, 5 and 6, and a double crochet in each of these. First one, second one, and third one. That's the first square completed. Next up, we're going to do row 2. And in the beginning, each row will increase by 1 square. So to increase, we're going to start the same way that we started this first square, by chaining 6. Again, 3 is a turning chain and 3 as the foundation of our next square. So we're going to ignore the first 3, and then into the 4th, 5th and 6th chain from the hook, we're going to work our 3 double crochets. And if you're using UK terminology, that's treble crochets for you. 3. Every time you finish a square, unless it's the last one of the row, you need to anchor the top of this square to the chain of the square from the other row. But that's down there, we're up here. How is that going to work? Simple trick, you just flip this up and suddenly your hook and your turning chain are right next to each other. And now if you look at the top here of this square that we did initially, you can see 1, 2, 3, these are the tops of our double crochets, and next up is the top stitch of our turning chain, and I like to just go into that back loop here and then slip stitch that across. So this is what it looks like now. We're going to do the second square of row 2 now. First of all, we need to chain 3 just to get the height, and then we're going to work our 3 double crochets for this square into this chain space. So just insert the hook into that chain space here, and I'm splitting my yarn. Let's start that again. First double crochet, second double crochet, and third double crochet. There we go. Next up, we're doing another row, and we're increasing again. So still adding more squares, which means we're going to start with our 6 chain stitches again, and same as we did before, ignore the first 3 as turning chain and then double crochet each into the 4th, the 5th and the 6th. The top of this square needs to meet this turning chain here. So we're doing the same trick as before. We're turning this upwards to meet our hook, and looking here we can see the 1, 2, 3 double crochets we did, and the next stitch is, oh, that's quite a tight one this time. Pull a little bit here. There we go. Pull that through and secure with a slip stitch. We're doing the next square now. So again, starting with chaining 3 for the height, and then crocheting 3 double crochets into this chain space. I find this gets in the way a little bit, so I quite like to just bend this over and just hold it there to get it out of the way, and then work into that chain space. It's 3 double crochets, and now we can unfold this again. This is what we've got now, and conveniently now this chain is already right next to our hook, so no turning required this time round. We can just immediately go 1, 2, 3 double crochets. Here's the top of our chain, and slip stitch into that back loop, and then once again 3 for the height, and crochet 3 double crochets into this chain space here. I'll be adding a 4th row, which is increasing again, so we'll have 4 squares going across, but I'll whiz through this a little bit more quickly now, and then I'll show you how to decrease your project and make your rows shorter again. As you know from the little swatch in the beginning, our project is going to be 4 by 4 squares. So we've now reached the width and the length that we want, which means it's time to decrease. Unlike before, we're not going to add another square here, so we're not going to start with the chain 6 like we did before. We want to crochet our next square straight into this space here. But how are we going to get there? So we want to crochet into this chain space, and in order to get there we're going to start with a chain 3 to get the height and to bridge us over to get here. And like before, we're starting by anchoring into the top chain stitch, so 1, 2, 3, and into this top chain stitch, just slip stitch that in, and then 1, 2, 3 to get the height, and our 3 double crochets are worked into the chain space here. Yep, now I'm really stuck up here. How did that happen? And 3. Just like we've done in the rows before, we're going to slip stitch this to the top chain space. I'm going to fold this over so I don't get caught again. 3 for the height, 3 double crochets into the chain space. Slip stitch 1, 2, 3 into the top of the chain, 3 for the height, and 3 double crochets. Once again, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch into the top of the chain here. We've now got 1, 2, 3, 4 squares here already. The next one, if we would just continue, be here, being the 5th one, but we only want to do 4 by 4. which means our row is finished and we don't put another square up here. We're finishing our row just here, decreasing both on the beginning and on the end because we're making a square little project here. Same thing that we did in the beginning when we were decreasing. We need to work our next square into this space here, and in order to get there we start out by chaining 3, slip stitching that into the top here, and then 1, 2, 3 for the height. Again, 3 double crochets and attaching this to the top of the chain with the slip stitch, 3 for the height, 3 double crochets, and slip stitching to the top of our turning chain again. And this time around again, 4 by 4. We don't need to add another square here. We're nearly done. We just need to do one last square into this corner here in order to get there. Chaining another 3, putting that with a slip stitch against that corner, and final square, 3 for the height, 3 double crochets into the chain space, and final anchor. The final one, I quite like to just anchor it into this chain space, and that's it. Here's a little corner to corner swatch. This was just the very basic corner to corner crochet. If you would like to know some nifty hacks and learn about how to change colours, just keep an eye on my channel and check out my other tutorials. I hope you found this helpful and see you again soon. Bye!